Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a cool one for you. Today we're going to see what happens when you take a game like Rocket League and you mix it together with Rust. In fact, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to play Rocket League in Rust. So stay tuned and check it out. I think you're really going to enjoy this. Hey guys, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I teach you guys the very best tips and tricks to owning and operating a successful Rust server. On this channel, I do a lot of plugin reviews and tutorials to hopefully show you some of the different things that you can do inside your world to make life a little bit better for your players, or maybe just to give them something different to do. So if you're brand new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you stay up to date on everything that we're working on. And of course, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. I put out a brand new video every Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. All right, let's get into Rust League. All right, so Rust League has come from the crazy mind of Razor over at MyVector.xyz. I'll put a link to his website in the video description down below. So there's not really a whole lot you need to know about this plugin. There's one permission that we have to deal with, which we'll do once we get in game. There's a couple of parameters that we actually have to set up inside the game. And of course, we'll quickly go over the configuration file because it is important that you guys know what's in there. So this plugin does have a couple of dependencies, one of which is Zone Manager. Most of you are already using Zone Manager, but if you're not, make sure you have it installed before you install Rust League. Rust League will actually look for and validate that you have Zone Manager on your server before it even tries to compile Rust League. Another dependency that this plugin requires is an actual arena. So if you want to, you can go in and build yourself a big, nice, large arena. You want to make sure that you have a center point. You also want to make sure that you have a red goal and a blue goal. And you can literally set this up however you want it to be. It can be round, it can be square, it can be triangular, it can be literally whatever size and shape that you want it to be. However, if you don't want to create your own arena, Lone has actually created a prefab that if you're familiar with Rust Edit, you can actually just drop this prefab onto your map anywhere you want it to be, and your arena is completely set up. This is what I decided to do for demonstration purposes for this video, so you're going to actually see what this prefab looks like. But in order to use it, you have to be kind of comfortable using Rust Edit. You don't necessarily have to build a map from the ground up. You can just take a regular ProcGen map, drop this prefab wherever you want it to be on your map. And here's a special hint. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the ground. You can float this up in the air, whatever it is that you want to do. Or if you have room underneath your map, you can do that as well. If you do happen to just plop this on a ProcGen map, there are tools inside of Rust Edit where you can terraform it correctly so that it looks like it's supposed to be there. Kind of. All right, so obviously I already have this plugin installed on my server. So if you don't know how to install a plugin or you've never seen it done before, watch that video in the top right hand corner right there. It'll show you how to install a plugin and what to expect while you're doing that. So before we go in game and I get to show you exactly what this plugin looks like, let's just quickly go over the configuration file. So there is a permission associated with this, and the only thing that you need the permission for is for setting up your arena. After that's set up, the permission is no longer required. Your players don't need to have a permission in order to actually play the game. How long are your rounds going to be? How many rounds are your players going to play? And to how many points? So in this case, by default, there's going to be 4 rounds and they're going to play to a maximum of 5 points. The arena zone ID, don't worry about that. We're going to get to that in just a second. Do you want this plugin to automatically run? By default, this is set to false. Let's change that to true. And how often do you want it to run? By default, it's set at 320 seconds. For demonstration purposes, I'm just going to change that to 60 seconds. Minimum players needed online in order for the event to start. By default, it's set to 2. I'm going to change that to 1 because I'm just by myself. I'll be the only one on this test server. The next section there basically deals with how your ball is going to react once it gets hit. So basically the different speeds that it can travel after somebody hits it. If you want it to be a really slow game, obviously reduce these numbers down. If you want it to be a really fast game, like a crazy moving ball, obviously increase those numbers. Next section there is dealing with what do you want to award your player with if they win the game of Rust League. You can put your item ID in there, how many of them you want, and then of course if you do want to award them that prize, make sure you change this to true. You can also reward your players just for simply joining the event. That section is right there. Change this to true if you want to actually do that. Put your item ID number there and how many of those items you want to reward your player with just for joining the event. Next section down below that is dealing with the car itself. So what kind of car they're going to drive, and of course how many rockets they are going to be equipped with. By default, this is set to 2. You can literally change that to whatever you want. Yes, your players can fire rockets at each other. If you know how to deal with assets, you can change which car is actually being used in the game. And then down below that section there is the actual event location, which we're going to deal with here. It's all zeros right now. We're going to deal with that once we're actually in the server. So for right now, we're just going to save that. We're going to reload our plugin. And because we haven't gone in game yet, we haven't set up our arena, we haven't done any permissions or anything like that, you're going to see a couple of errors come up on your console, and that's okay. It's basically saying we haven't set up the location for the event to actually take place yet. Therefore, the plugin can't do what it's trying to do. All right, so obviously our next step is to go in game and actually get our arena all set up. And it's also the first opportunity that you're going to get to see this prefab that was built by Lone. All right, so if you've ever seen Rocket League before, you know that this is basically what their arena looks like inside Rocket League. So we have a completely enclosed arena. Roof is there, it's made out of glass. Basically makes it so that your ball can't fly out. And it's pretty standard. We've got a center point, we've got a blue goal, and of course we have a red goal. And like I said before, we only have one permission to deal with, and that is for setting up our arena itself. So let's go into our admin menu. Let's go to permissions, group permissions, and then admin. And then we want to find Rust League right here, and rustleague.admin is the only permission that we have to deal with. And that is going to allow us to do what we're about to do next. So first things first, what we need to do is create a zone around our arena. Now, if you're using the prefab by Lone, this part isn't incredibly important other than having a zone ID. But if you're building your own arena, you want to use the radius of the zone manager to create a roof over top of whatever kind of arena you build. Basically, it makes it so that the ball can't leave the sphere that we're actually going to create right now. So to create a zone, we're going to go in chat, we're going to do /zone_add, and it says you've successfully created a zone. And of course you can see this blue black radius dome sphere thing that we've just created around it. It's a little bit off center there. You kind of want to make this as close to center as you can get it, but for demonstration purposes this is going to work. But that radius isn't near big enough, so let's go /zone_radius, and we're going to increase that to 125. And if we scroll out a little bit, you can see that that sphere is now basically covering my entire arena. And if I didn't have a roof over this arena and you were able to kick the ball high enough out, it would actually bounce off the top of that dome. So for custom built arenas, the dome is incredibly important. If you're using Lone's prefab, not so important, but you still need to create a zone there. We have to actually take the zone ID and input that into the Rust League configuration file. So we'll do that in just a second. But for right now, let's finish up with the creation of our arena. So let's stand right at the center, or as close to center as we can get. That looks pretty good there. And let's do /RL center. That sets the center of the arena. Of course, we'll go down to the red goalpost. We'll do /RL red. And then of course, we're gonna do the same thing for the blue goalpost. Kind of get as close to center as you can get, and we'll do /RL blue. Now, as you can see in chat there, we've got the center is set, the red zone is set, and the blue zone is set. That's all we have to do for setting up on the arena. Now, the only thing we have left to do is to grab our zone ID and transfer that into our configuration file for Rust League. In order to get our zone ID, we can do /zone in chat, and in there, it's going to give us our zone ID number. You can see it about midway through the screen right there. Of course, you can also grab that information out of the zone manager data file, which looks exactly like this. We go into our data folder, we open up zone data, and we can grab this zone ID right here. So we're just going to copy that to our clipboard for right now. Let's go back into our configuration. Can you guys see what I'm doing there? Yeah, you'll basically get the idea. So we go into our configuration folder, and we want to open up the configuration file for Rust League. And we then want to pasta in our zone ID number, not twice though, just like that. And if we scroll down a bit, you'll now see that where this was all zeros before, now you can see actual locations on there, which is the center, the red, and the blue goal. So now that our locations are actually set, you can actually change your zone size, so your goalpost size for each, the blue as well as the red. Once we're satisfied with all of that, of course, we're going to do another save. We're going to do another reload of the plugin. It's going to grab all of the newest information that we just added in there, which in this case was just the zone ID number. And now you can see that everything has compiled successfully and the plugin is running as we would expect it to be. So because I set my timer in the Rust League configuration file to 60 seconds, it's going to check every 60 seconds to see how many players are online. Because I changed my minimum players to 1, it's automatically going to prompt to start a new game of Rust League. All right, so as you can see in chat there, Rust League event is now open. To join, type /RL. That brings up a simple GUI. And as you can see there, welcome to Rust League. We recommend that you strip off everything before you join the event waiting list, and remember to have fun. And we'll just click on join. And now you can see on the right hand side there, it has now added me to a waiting list. If there was another player in the server and they so decided that they wanted to also play Rust League, it would add them to that list as well. And then after a very short period of time, the game would actually start with the people that are on the waiting list. So because I can't do this by myself, I actually invited a couple of Discord members to come in and help me out. So a special thank you goes out to Amino, Rez, and Moinkeys. The 3 of them were all willing to come into my test server and test out Rust League for me. So just as I've come to expect, Razer did a bang up job on this plugin. It runs very smoothly. It works exactly like I would expect it to if you were imagining taking Rocket League and joining it with Rust. I think he did a really good job. Lone also deserves a huge shout out because that prefab that he created is also top notch. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to use it. And Razer, actually, maybe you can help me out here. Is it true that anybody that buys Rust League will automatically get access to Lone's prefab, or is it something that they're going to have to reach out to you and actually get access to? If you don't mind, just let me know, because I actually don't know the answer to that question. If you guys would like to try out Rust League without actually having to purchase it, you can join my test server called Rust meets Rocket League. Grab one of your friends, join the server. You can play the game to your heart's content. It's the only thing there is to do on the server, so you'll be just going there just to try out this plugin. And then of course, if you decided this is the right plugin for you, make sure you go to MyVector.xyz to download Razer's Rust League. All right, that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up for me. If you'd like to help out the channel by becoming one of my supporters, like these people right above me right now, make sure you check me out at patreon.com/srtbull. It comes with a couple of different perks, one of which of course is you get your name mentioned at the end of each one of my videos for as long as you're one of my patrons. If that's something that interests you, like I said, make sure you check me out at patreon.com/srtbull. All right, that's it for me. I hope you guys are staying safe and taking care of each other. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all next Friday.